What did the popular kid at your school do to go from cool to an absolute outcast? He got a bad haircut. Was teased for it and threw a temper tantrum. He literally stormed out in the middle of class. He lost his spot as king bully after that. Probably the best way to lose popularity. He got with me. For real. He was the most popular and I was the most unpopular. He was still always popular but less so after that. Now we've been together for 5 years and married for a little over 8. Ah, I love this one. Semi-popular. Kinda preppy kid. Tried to kill his parents by pouring vodka around their bed at night and setting it on fire because they took his CDs away. Tried is the key word here. Liquor doesn't burn that well. She was pretty and fairly popular and near the end of the school year told everyone she had cancer. We were approaching the end of grade 7 at the time. Eventually literally everyone knew, teachers, other parents, other grades, etc., and it kind of united everyone who weren't typically friends and that was kind of cool. Until one day, maybe a week or two in, a pair of girlfriends go to visit her at her parents' house and they bring it up and discover it was a hoax. She pissed off a lot of people and lost all her friends after that. Gained new ones eventually. But what a goddamn weird thing to lie about. Same thing happened at my middle school. The girl would skip school and tell her friends she was absent because she was undergoing chemo. One of our friends brought it up to a teacher when the teacher mentioned something about her missing class so much and the teacher called her mom. I still remember her mom calling me and telling me she was calling everyone in the girl's address book to tell them her daughter did not have cancer. She lost some friends afterwards as well because a lot of people thought she was weird for lying about that. Known party girl at my school was texting while driving. She hit and killed someone crossing the street. Her father was a SGT in the police department. She went to jail for 6 months and then had to do probation, community service. Not quite sure what happened after the fact. She deleted everything tied to her. This was 2 days after high school graduation. Guy got accused of RP at a party and nobody believed the girl. And people spread vicious rumors about her and sided with him. The whole thing seemed like everyone viewed him as a victim. And he played himself up that way. Until, a few months later, another girl said she had been RP'd by him at a party. And multiple other people at the party saw her hysterically crying and bruised afterwards. There were not so many people supporting him after that. He got drunk and finger-banged a sheep at an outdoor party. He spent the next 3 years as the sheep FCKER. Greater than you build hundreds of bridges throughout your life. And nobody calls you a bridge builder. But you F1 GOAT. Graduated high school. He turned into that 30-year-old dude that still hasn't gotten over high school. We had a friend who was like that. We all realized we grew apart when he tries to sack tap everyone at the barbecue and still trying to do the party boy gimmick from Jackass. Edit, to clarify with some comments about this dude. We haven't gotten together in like 7 or so years after high school. So this was the first thing he started doing when he arrived with the rest of the gang. No warming up or anything. Just a straight tap on the sack and laughing maniacally. Sack tapping hasn't been funny since 8th grade. Source, college student. Sack tapping is just a surefire way to get thrown out of the party. What is sack tapping? I believe it is when you smack an unsuspecting person's BLLS. She was hired to dog sit for a neighbor when they went out of town. She decided to take advantage of the empty house and throw a party at the neighbor's house that got out of hand. Neighbor's daughter also went to the school and had to deal with a messed up house. Pretty big deal, and the popular girl never came back. Wholesome for once, I guess. All popular kids in my school were complete DCK heads that bullied others. This fella, king of the hill, starts dating a girl from another school that was friends with one of the bullied kids. The kid told the girl what her boyfriend does in THT school. So the girl threatened to break up with him if he didn't change his ways. He stopped socializing with the cool folks and started getting bullied by them. And none of the other kids wanted to warm up to him. He was a loner at school, but he made his GF happy and he was happy. That makes me happy. He stood for what mattered most to him and it made him a better man. Accidentally left a video of himself sticking stuff up his on a phone that he sold to another student. I never saw him again after that. He was popular because he was a rebel that talked back to teachers. and insulted them openly. He became an outcast because he made the teacher everyone loved cry. I had a guy in my class do this recently. Nobody really talks to him anymore. Rule 1 of school: don't F with the cool teachers. Edit, and don't be a douche to the not so cool ones. I remember in middle school the popular kid asked out the most unpopular girl and then embarrassed her in front of everybody by breaking up with her and laughing in her face about how she could think it was real. It was really sad, and I remember her being really into high school TV shows, and I think she really wanted to be popular. Like she hoped life would be like a Disney show or something. IDK what happened to him, but I remember everyone kinda being like, dude. And he moved a bit later. In high school the popular kids weren't necessarily bullies. They weren't super welcoming into their circle to invite everyone to parties and stuff, but they weren't total bullies, at least that I know of. They were just good at sports and attractive pretty much. That happened in our school too, except the popular guy kept being popular. I hated him after that incident. And I felt so bad for the girl. Like everyone felt bad for the girl. But I was one of maybe 5 people who then felt angry towards the guy. Everyone else just let it go as if he wasn't the reason we all felt bad for the girl. It's been nearly 20 years since that happened, and that's still what I think about when I see him. Got hit by a train. Everyone cared about him until he got out of the hospital and wasn't the same mentally, from head trauma. All the other popular kids mock him and have him blocked on social media to this day. That's messed up. It's just what the popular kids do. A majority of them aren't good people. And the minority just gets influenced. Well, everyone else grew up. He didn't, and doesn't seem to want to. Now it's everyone else's fault 10 years later. This is the path my brother is going down. My mother fears that he will be 30 with no education, skills, or job. The kid just has no work ethic in him. It was easy for him to cruise through high school since literally it is almost impossible to fail, but when college came he got kicked out 1 semester in and now just does nothing. The person I was referencing is 28 and does the absolute bare minimum. And actually talks about college and seeking to better yourself as a bad thing. I'm pretty sure he's starting to lean towards the incel side of things as well and has a need to prove his masculinity. Growing up he was one of the coolest kids in high school. We were best friends. Now he's just a homophobic YouTube troll that you can't have a regular conversation with without it going towards identity politics. Most popular kid in my middle school was this big Samoan dude. Looked like he was 13 going on 25 years old. I remember he gained a lot of popularity when he serenaded this girl in class to ask her to the dance. He had music playing on his iPhone and he started belting out love songs while on bended knee. Later on that year he went from hero to zero when we found out he'd been molesting his sister. Well, the popular girl at my school tried to ruin the life of a really sweet girl because of boyfriend drama. When she realized people were standing up for the sweet girl instead, she lost her mind, accusing the other girl and her boyfriend of property damage, turning on anyone who didn't swear loyalty to her, turning people against one another, screaming at teachers. It was a mess. The nail in the coffin was when she confided to me and 2 others that she was planning to put laxatives in the pastries she baked for the class. Obviously I let people know. And she became completely ostracized. She left at the end of junior year. And senior year was the most chill year ever. Sent his girlfriend's NKED pics to the whole school. Wow, what a scumbag. The worst part of it was the excuse he gave: "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to send it to everyone. Just a couple guys from the basketball team." He ended up switching schools. This kid in middle school used to talk S to everyone. He had nice stuff his parents got him and everyone thought he was tough and could fight until one day he started on a special needs kid. Nobody had ever actually seen the popular kid fight. He just was excellent at intimidation. Now a lot of the special needs kids in my area weren't just students who were mentally challenged, but had overall learning disabilities. Many of those kids came from very tough homes, and the special needs kid who the popular kid messed with was an absolute savage. He grew up in a pretty tough part of town but was really a gentle giant. He could play football. He was muscular. He could do everything the regular students could do except speak properly. A minor speech impediment. The popular kid challenged him to a one-on-one fight and got his ass kicked by the special needs kid. I'm talking blood everywhere. His clothes got ripped. One of his sneakers landed like 10 feet away. And to top it all off, he even tried running away after the first few punches. The special needs kid grabbed him and pulled him back. It was a acre. The popular kid not only lost all of his influence but didn't even have the guts to come back to school for like a week. If I ever saw instant karma, it would have had to have been on this day, because he was quiet as a mouse the rest of the years through high school. Graduated. Turns out, some learn the hard way that adulthood is not the same as high school. That's blunt and true. Yep. I was nervous to go to my 10-year reunion because we had an intense popular crowd of kids who made the rest of us feel invisible. It ended up that none of them left our hometown and we're all dying to hear from the rest of us. My 20-year reunion is next year and all of them are still doing the same in our hometown. There was a popular cheerleader at my school that was in a bad car wreck and she suffered severe brain damage. The day she came back, some of her friends, aka the popular kids, sat with her at lunch. Every day after that though, they sat on the other side of the cafeteria in their normal spot and she was with the other special needs students. They would walk past her without saying a word. As far as everyone knew, her entire group of friends completely abandoned her. I don't think she missed them though. So silver lining, she seemed to be very happy most of the time after the accident. Not so much before. This was in the mid-late 80s. And every teen movie with a bunch of shitty preppies pretty much accurately depicts the popular kids in my HS. Best answer to this happens between elementary and middle school. Our elementary was small, and we fed into a middle school with a much bigger school. Think 20% us, and 80% them. Most popular kid showed up on the first day, after only knowing what it's like to be the coolest kid in the small school. And tried to start with some random kid, who was with 11 of his friends, to show how cool and top dog he was to everyone, I guess. Yeah, those 12 guys beat him up, and then made fun of him for years. He wasn't cool anymore, just that fast. By high school nobody cared anymore. But he was never really popular again. This sounds like how every inside prison documentary goes down. He hooked up with 2 of his friends' girlfriends. They ditched him after that. There was a guy that was pretty popular. He got really drunk at a party and totally didn't know where he was. He pulled down his pants, squatted and totally started to poop. He moved away immediately. He was a senior and I was in 8th grade. That was well over 25 years ago. Well, he friended me on Facebook a couple months ago and I kinda recognized him. I racked my brain and it came to me. The guy who pooped at the party. Poor guy. Call other girls SLTS because those girls were trying to tell her that her boyfriend was cheating on her. And they were right. Girl in my middle school was really popular. But she was also super nice. I was a total outcast with a lot of problems. But she was the only person who ever treated me like a normal human being. She came out as bisexual. And got bullied so badly she had to move schools. He got caught cheating on an econ final his senior year. And instead of taking responsibility, he dragged 3 other people down with him who had apparently also cheated. All 4 got in trouble. Only that dude lost all his friends.